Hello, my name is Sean Han from Valor International Scholars, and the title of the research paper that I'm going to present today is Classification of Perception of Emotion in Music using Convolutional Neural Networks. Each country focuses on developing artificial intelligence technology-based art content in response to rapid technological changes in the fourth industrial revolution era. In particular, in the music sector, the development of artificial intelligence composition programs is actively underway. These AI music composition programs are mainly created by learning the genre or style of music. By all means, it can be ordered to create music by designating a mood, but it can be evaluated that it feels mechanical somewhere and does not fit well with human emotions. Therefore, attempts to develop various technologies to capture very human emotions are needed. Based on this research background, this paper attempts to classify emotions in music melodies and apply them to visualization processing and machine learning to derive the emotional characteristics of music data. Through this, we would like to check the possibility of applications that automatically categorize various emotions in existing music data and use them as one of the fundamental technologies for developing artificial intelligence composition programs that more effectively represent human emotions. First, I looked at the existing similar studies. Among them, a paper titled A Study on Classification on Music Genre based on Machine Learning proposes a method to extract music sources features using the pre-processing and distinguish genre using machine learning. Two machine learning algorithms were used, convolutional neural network and long short-term memory, which were used to compare and analyze the two algorithms' performance. Another paper titled Music Genre Classification Using Multimodal Deep Learning introduces a multimodal deep learning model using two machine learning algorithms, CNN and recurrent neural network, as input data, with spectrogram images of music and sequential signal data of music sources to classify genres. Both of the papers seek to classify music genre by utilizing two machine learning algorithms, including CNN, for data from their sound sources. Therefore, in this research, we present a learning model for emotion classification in the music melody not applied in the existing works. In order to conduct this research, appropriate music samples are required to learn emotions. First, a validated classification system for various human emotions should be selected, and various music samples for emotion classification experiments should be collected. It is also necessary to secure reliability as learning data through surveys to see what emotions the collected music samples contain. To this end, music samples and experimental results used in study on emotion expression in music samples by Professor Park Kyung-mo of Kyung University's Neuroimaging and Integrative Medicine Laboratory are used as learning data. A summary of Professor Park Kyung-mo's team's experiments and results, which will be used for emotional learning, is as follows. First, a total of 96 music samples were produced and used in various classical music melodies through the music notation program Finale. Second, a total of 100 subjects participated in the experiment, and 87 of them were reflected through screening, including those who did not participate faithfully and answered differently to the same music. Third, the emotion model for experimenting with emotions in music samples used was Thayer's arousal valence emotion plane, which is considered a leading study of music emotion. This divides the arousal of emotions and the valence of the mood into two axes, and the subjects listens to a music sample and selects a point where the horizontal and vertical intersects to extract two outcome values. Fourth, subjects were asked to fill out two additional answer sheets and the emotion plane, which increased the reliability of the appraiser survey. Following this response procedure, one subject's emotional representation for one music sample appears with a total of 12 answers. The results of 87 emotion experiments on a total of 96 sound source samples are summarized as follows. The data from this experiment had 12 variables on 96 tracks. 3 questionnaires were conducted by 87 subjects listening to 96 different example tracks with 12 musical characteristics and obtaining the average value of the answers for each track. Valence, alarm, D/P standing for depressed/pleased, C/M standing for calm/power, G/B meaning gravity/brightness, S/E meaning severe/excited, solemn, sadness, anger, fear, warm-hearted, and joy. The mean value's decimal point was omitted because all the questionnaires were supposed to receive an integer value. This allowed us to derive approximately 1,150 numerical value data and identify each track's emotional characteristics. These numeric value data were converted into sorting list data and stored in the score.npy file for each sample. Using this file, the model will learn to connect samples and data. To reproduce experiments that grasp music emotions without the same process as this experiment, we wanted to employ artificial intelligence algorithms that automatically generate models and learn data on their own. Among the AI algorithms, we use machine learning in this model generation and apply a convolutional neural network technique that extracts high accuracy by analyzing images and others during machine learning. In CNN, we use a regression method to learn data and generate a 12 result values model. CNN models are models that can learn images, photographs, sounds, and more. Among them, we wanted to proceed with the learning via images and thus went through converting existing music sample wave files into log-mode spectrogram. The log-mode spectrogram has a time and hertz values on the horizontal and the vertical axis respectively, and a decibel value on each part depending on the color. The translation program is used by importing OS, argparse, NumPy, Limbrosa, and Matplotlib. When running the program, variables such as the location, sampling rate, time point, sliding length, filter count of the file to convert must be entered. Along with the process, an NPY file with information is also created, used for model learning. Running this program creates 96 log-mode spectrogram images files and .npy files respectively. Using the transformed images and the generated NPY file, machine learning can link the score.npy files generated with the dataset and then proceed with the learning. This process creates a model that learns by aggregating all of the transformed images, NPY files, and score.npy files. We use a CNN regression model to generate these models and compute the NPY files as input value and the score.npy file as output values. Learning model program is used by importing previously called OS, argparse, NumPy, and new ones like Matplotlib, TensorFlow, Keras, and models. When executing the code, a dataset to learn should be given, divided into two main categories. The first is trained data, which the program uses to learn data, and the second is val data, which is used by the model to verify data in learning it. In this experiment, the ratio of trained and val data was divided by about 8 to 2. We put 77 and 19 sample NPY files and score.npy files in the train and val folders respectively, and ran the program. The following sentences are displayed and the program proceeds with the learning process. This prompt is the first 5 of the 300 repetition of the program's learning. Through 300 learning sessions, the accuracy is increased and the loss value is gradually reduced. The table displays the change in loss values over 300 processes with only the top 5 and bottom 5. As shown in the table, the values of loss and val loss had decreased significantly in 300 processes. However, the large difference between the loss value and the val loss value seems to require further exploration through the subsequent process for this model's accuracy. The completed model can now be used to determine how accurate this model is by comparing the model's prediction value when the input data is given with the actual data. This program calls in only val, not trading both train and val, and this model outputs prediction values in real data. We can generate predictive programs by changing the parts of existing learning program codes to the part we predict. First, the ckpt.h5 file stored in the computer is loaded to recall the generated model above. Then, the predictions and labels are printed. The prediction model can be created by replacing it with the code below in the existing program. The created program can be executed through this process to allow this generated model to look at the sample and compare the predicted value with the actual data. This is the output prompt when the prediction model is executed, which lists the upper line's prediction value and the data from the existing survey experiment. The val contained a total of 19 samples, with only the top 5 listed. As shown in the table, it can be seen that the predicted value and the 12 numeric values of each existing data are output. However, it is judged that this model's accuracy is somewhat reduced, given that it differs significantly from the expected values of the CNN model and the values entered in the actual survey data score.mpy file. As a conclusion, this research was able to train music spectrogram images and emotion classification survey data generated using CNN machine learning algorithms and generate models that can predict music melodies' emotions and present models that classify emotions of music melodies that were not seen in previous studies. In this study, there may have been several factors that caused the model to be less accurate, but we think the small amount of data was the most prominent. As the regression approach was applied due to the multiple numerical values each sample had, we experimented with a total of a little amount of data of 96, which we believe contributed to reducing the accuracy of the model. Further development of the study would lead to one possibility of analyzing emotions about music and identifying its musical elements and applying them to classification models or song generation models. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.